Okay, now we're going to do inequalities. This is 4-3B and C. We're going to put them together. To be honest with you, there's not a big difference between inequalities and equations, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time doing a lot of examples. I'll start off with this one. X plus 8 is greater than or equal to 18. X plus 8 is greater than or equal to 18. You do the same thing. You separate your inequality into two sides. You say, what did they do to the x? They added 8, so you subtract 8. And you get x is greater than or equal to 18 minus 8 is 10. So that's your final answer. The main mistake people make is once they solve it, they tend to write x equals 10. That's the biggest mistake. If you write that, it's wrong. You have to keep the same inequality that you started with, unless for some reason you're supposed to change it, which we'll talk about that later. But it's not going to go from an inequality to an equality, okay? So just remember that. I'll do another one. Let's do negative 18 plus n is less than negative 7. So again, draw your line separating the inequality. Here's your variable. What did they do to it? They subtracted 18. Remember that? They didn't add anything. They subtracted 18. So subtract 18 is what they did. So what you're going to do is add 18. And n, keep this, is less than negative 7 plus 18 is 11. Negative 7 plus 18 is 11. So n is less than 11. Final answer. Okay. See if I can find some more with some multiplication and division. Pretty much the same thing. Just one thing's different that I want to show you. Okay, so here's one with multiplication. 2n is greater than 2. Okay, so 2n is greater than 2. Separate your inequality. They multiplied by 2, so you're going to divide by 2. And you get n is greater than 1. Final answer. Simple. Next one I want to do is b over 6. Oh no, I changed it. Let's do a different one. Sorry. Hopefully you're using pencil. X over 5 is less than or equal to 3. Okay, so draw your line. They divided by 5, so you are going to multiply by 5. And you get x is less than or equal to 15. Final answer. So it's pretty much the same, right? I'll keep going. There's only one part of inequalities that's a little bit different, and that's what I'm going to show you. Okay, so let's see here. Let's use this one. Negative 5x is greater than or equal to 25. So you draw your line. What did they do? They multiplied by negative 5. So we're going to divide by negative 5. This is what I want to show you. Anytime you have a negative here, not necessarily in the problem, I'll show you that in a minute, why there's a difference. If you have to do something with a negative, so for instance, in this question, we have to do 25 divided by negative 5. This is our work right here. That's what we're doing. We have to do something with a negative. Anytime you have to do something, either multiplication or division by a negative, you flip the inequality. So it's going to go from greater than or equal to less than or equal to. Okay? So 25 divided by negative 5 is negative 5. So to flip is here. It was greater than or equal to, now it's less than or equal to. Okay? And I'll show you the difference with one where you don't have to flip it, even though there's a negative. Here's one. 10b is less than or equal to negative 20. Okay? Now watch this. What did they do to the b? They multiplied by 10. Right? Everybody's in agreement. They multiplied by 10. Now what are we going to do? We're going to divide by 10. So remember what I told you earlier. Sorry, phone's ringing. Remember what I told you earlier. They're dividing by 10. This is our work over here. This is our work. This is what they did. This is what we do. Are we doing anything with a negative? No. Some people are going to say, yes, we are, because look, it's a negative 20, and we're going to have to put negative 20 divided by 10 in the calculator. That's true. But it's the work that we're doing. This is our work over here. This is the equation. We don't have anything to do with that. This is our work. Are we doing anything with the negative? No. So the inequality does not flip. Okay, it doesn't flip. It stays the same. Same inequality here and here. And we get b is less than or equal to negative 2. Negative 20 divided by 10 is negative 2. So the only time it flips is if you have a negative here when it's time for you to write down what you're supposed to do. If you have a negative, then you flip it. If you don't, then you don't flip it. Okay? So let's write that down. That's a rule. And the rule is anytime we multiply or divide by, that's the key word, by a negative, we must flip the inequality. Okay, anytime we multiply or divide by a negative, we must split the inequality. So in other words, this is negative 20 divided by 10. Divided by 10. So is 10 negative? No. So we don't flip it. Whenever you're multiplying or dividing by a negative, then you flip the inequality.